James Obantuana, certified lover boy. Yes. CLB. The transformation is going to be complete. I give you permission to walk around for 6 months without wearing a t-shirt. You have the right to be a douchebag for once in your life.
Just for once, huh? Alrighty, let's do a show.
Welcome to it, sports fans. It is the MKT show, and I am MKT.
MKT show, live with you. MKT joins from 1 o'clock.
MKT time, the best sports show, live and alive. Can't deny that. I mean, that's a fact.
Okay, keep it to yourself, James. This is a family show after all.
Oh, hashtag Ryan versus Senzo. That is the hashtag for today. All right, let's move on. We are actually a sports show.
Because there's no longer Ola in, Ola out. It's the Ola coaster.
Yeah, right? It's the Ola coaster.
The Ola coaster, up, down.
Yeah.
We feel sick. At some points we're upside down. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's one of the good ones, bro. It's so well spoken. That's my best. That oak's going place. Yeah, it's so well spoken.
The MKT show is live on Cliff Central Sport every day from 12 till 2 p.m. Central African time on YouTube.
CliffCentral.com.
Yeah, so we're going to get into it. What days did you decide?
This week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
And then from next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
No, it's good to have that gap in between.
I thought so. I didn't know how I should plan it.
Yeah, should probably have the gap in between.
And I want to stay as sort of committed as possible. That's why I ruled out weekends for myself. Because I know myself.
Wow, what are you doing on weekends?
Exactly.
What do you mean?
Oh, James, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, yeah, no, I'm going to here and I'm doing this. And then in the middle of all of that is the workout thing. So I don't want to do that stuff to myself.
You could do it like 5 in the morning on a Saturday, you know? People do that.
Do you really get up early and just like
4:15 every day. I get up 4:15 every single day.
No, dude. No.
Yeah. No, seriously.
No way, dude.
I promise. Every day of my life, 4:15.
Holy 4:15. Don't you get like tired by like 12 o'clock?
Absolutely not. 4:15. I'm in bed at a reasonable hour. If I get to bed late, it's 10 o'clock. It's like a routine thing. If you want to build that routine in, you just build it in. I get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and it's a huge priority for me. Get up early, get it done. And also, what's nice about doing that is I have no excuse in the day for like all the stuff that has to happen, you know? It's like I still get to do the exercise, do my work, and I still get to chat to my mom, check on my friends. Whereas if I get up at like 7, and then I work out, and then my day only starts at 9, and then I leave out, like my mom, can't really chat to her, can't chat to my mates, and then all the excuses start. So get up at 4, build my day like that, try and be in bed by 9, sleeping by 9:30.
I'll definitely be awake by about 4:15 tomorrow morning.
You reckon?
Yeah, because I have to.
Awake by 4:15?
Yeah, because so you said I have to be there at 5, right?
Yeah.
And it's in Morningside.
Yeah.
Which is like here.
It's just by my house, like 10 minutes past my house. It's from your house,
I should look on Google to see the distance and then time my trip.
Yeah, no, you should definitely do that.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, that's for that. I think the hardest thing will be like building the schedule at first, or like the discipline.
What do you think about that? The whole discipline thing. Have you ever thought about it?
I think so. It's interesting because like in high school, you're automatically disciplined, and you have to go to 7 periods a day, and then it's lunch at this time. Like that builds the structure for you, and then your mom also disciplines you with homework, food, shower, whatever it is. So I think like when you're out of both of those systems, it like definitely becomes a lot harder to build or rebuild a structure or a form of discipline. So it's not going to be easy, I can tell you that much.
That's right.
It is going to be hard. But I've already like slowly gotten into the discipline and structure of eating better. So I suppose that's good.
Yeah, I mean that's a flippin' interesting thing. The food thing's an interesting one. Like when you hear the word discipline, what do you like hear? Because I've asked a few people like about this, right? So for me, see, I don't know I'm an extremist because people always tell me I'm extreme, but to me, I'm just like a diluted version of my dad. Like he's next level routine guy. And for me, I'm always interested in what people hear when they hear discipline. Do you hear a prison or do you hear freedom? Like when you hear discipline, do you feel like, I'm gonna have to not do stuff, or are you like, interesting?
I definitely don't hear anything to do with like freedom at all.
Yeah.
I think in my mind it's a very, I wouldn't say negative, but it's not exactly an enticing term
Yeah.
in my vocabulary. I think it's good for people to have discipline. I just don't think the word has a very positive connotation to it.
And so it's always interesting to me that people say that. Like, why do you hear negative when you hear discipline? Just out of interest. Well, like, what do you, is there stuff that you associated with that you hear discipline and you're like, ugh?
So I think, I don't know if it's the same for everyone else, but for me it's definitely, when I hear discipline, I hear like hard work is involved, and it's not to say that I shy away from hard work, because I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's like preempted hard work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And to be disciplined, it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's mostly where it comes from. Like it's hard work to be disciplined and to wake up at 4:15 or 4:30 and work out, and then still have a full day, and then still work into the evening. All of that is hard work, and yeah, I think that's where it sort of just becomes this negative thing, because hard work's tiring.
Hard work is tiring, and I mean, what's an interesting thing for me is, so because I come from a sports background, I've seen the benefits from when I was young of discipline, and what it creates because I'm a selfish person. Like I'm always like, I wonder what the best thing for me is in every single situation. And I remember when I was in my 20s, so at like when I was really off the rails, like properly, was probably when I went to Russia. So that was my sort of second year, and I'd just done my ACL, come back from an 3-month rehab in Switzerland. And then I was just like in the worst place. And it was the first time in my life I'd lost that rigidity, because I grew up in like something called the School of Excellence, right? Which is like it's like a development center for footballers in South Africa. I don't know if it still exists. Anyway, so I kind of grew up in that environment where everything was done for me. I knew where I was, and I've always been good at sport. It's just the one thing I could do, and my father pushed me super hard when I was young. So when I was 19, I remember it distinctly. I remember the day I properly fell off the wagon at the age of 19, and I was never the same again. It was after my rehab, and I went to Russia. And it was the first time I wasn't disciplined in my life. It was the first time I was actually, at Watford, I was drinking. In fact, at Tottenham, I was drinking while I was training. But I still had the rigidity to be at practice on time. But when I went to Russia, that was when I lost myself, because then I completely went off the rail. Late for practice, pitching up when I wanted to, faking injuries and things like that, just because I was hungover most of the time. And it was the first time I'd ever not been disciplined in my life. And that was when I actually started hating myself, like properly hating myself. From 19 till 28, really, really hated everything about myself. And it's because I come from a home of such discipline. Like my mother is uber disciplined, but my dad's another level. And it's part of the family ethos. Like super, super disciplined. And I know the gifts of it, because I've seen what freedom it gives you. Like in terms of, now as I'm getting older, it's like, because I'm disciplined, I have so much free time. And I know it sounds crazy, but because I wake up at 4 and I don't give myself a choice anymore. And keep in mind with me, I stopped drinking in 2013. So we are now in 2021. So since 2013, so let's say 2015, I've actually been a disciplined person because it took 2 years to realign my chakras. But from about 2015 is, being disciplined gives you time in the day because you do the stuff you have to do, which sucks. It sucks. I don't want to do admin. Like on the weekend, I don't want to go shopping.
Yeah.
But I make sure I'm up early. I take care of it so that I can do the fun stuff. I want to hang out with my friends. And I didn't realize what being disciplined did for you until I was disciplined. And now I have so much free time now because now I'm uber disciplined. And dude, Kipchoge, Kipchoge, the marathon guy. Dude, I don't know if you've seen his video when he talks about discipline.
No.
And it's an interesting way he puts it. It's like, it's something I've always thought, and it's tough to not get preachy about it. But he says, only the disciplined ones are free. If you're not free, you are a slave, like to your wants and your desires, is you're constantly just doing what you want to do. And we know life isn't about that. Like, you have to take care of the ugly stuff. Like, I don't care how much you love your mom, but to phone your mom once a week is a schlep. But if you're disciplined, like, it's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
I built it into my life. Like, every Monday, I phone my mother at a certain time. And once you build those in, it's incredible what freedom it affords you. Even in my financial life, dude. Like, only 2 years ago, I would say I took discipline to another level. And now, like, I have extra money because I'm disciplined.
It's so, like, interesting because, dude, so coming out of, like, a house with 5 people, then it was varsity, and then not immediately after varsity, but like an hour, a year or so after varsity. I don't know why it was an hour.
Yeah.
A year or so after I'd left varsity and started working, maybe even less, my parents left, and it was just me and Joe. And I think that's where sort of a lot of this also stems from, is like not being disciplined and not being in that structure of, because like when you're in your mum's house, you always have that thing in the back of your mind that's like a lot of your thoughts revolve around what your mom's gonna think. Like if you go out for the day,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, what's my mom gonna think when I come home with these horrible looking shoes or whatever it is, right?
I'm with you, yeah.
Like that's your mindset. And leaving the house slowly but surely over time, like that kind of goes away. And then I think that's where that sort of area is where you have to build that discipline. And without it, you become, you have a lot more love to give. And lockdown didn't help at all. But yeah, dude, discipline's never ever been one of my strong suits. Like high school, honestly, terrible marks until matric finals where it counted, got the marks I needed, left. Discipline is just something I've always hated, and I've been over the last week or so been trying to find these little like, not sort of pieces of information or inspiration or anything, just anything to sort of spur me on a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like I think you said a couple of months ago, or someone here said, if you snooze your alarm, I remember who it was who said it. If you snooze your alarm...
I know exactly what you're going to say, yeah.
If you snooze your alarm and you sleep through it to your next one, you've already lied to yourself for the first time today. And that way there's like this mental thing in your head where you're like, you can sort of be lenient with yourself, if that makes sense. So like, you've lied to yourself once about, oh, I'm going to get up at 5. And then when dinner comes around, you're like, oh, I'm not going to eat this piece of cake. But then you're like, oh, it's not going to do, it's just one. And then you're leaning with yourself again. So I think just small things like having the discipline to get out of bed tomorrow morning. I can't believe it's tomorrow morning. to have a tiny thing that I believe in this whole sort of workout thing is going to be getting out of bed.
Yeah.
and I say it's a tiny thing because it is throughout your sort of 16-hour day, but that little moment where like your alarm goes off has a large impact on the rest of your day, and I think that's gonna be what sort of makes or breaks this whole thing.
Dude, it's it's such a good point, and let me tell you why that alarm thing started. Was like honesty is a really important part of my family. Like it's one of my family tenets, and when I went away from that, that was part of kind of my character dissolving, which I'm still trying to rebuild now. And what you got to do, and what I found, and it's easy to say for me, and I don't know if it works for other people, is like you have to. There's so many excuses to be found on this, like on this planet, right? Is for me, I always look for things where only I can be to blame. Is my alarm is truly the one thing where it's a promise I'm making to myself. Nobody else can set it for me. Nobody else can, I have to charge my phone so that my phone is on. It's all on me. And like, it seems like a little thing, but if you can dial in on that, I truly, truly, truly believe it's a start. Because, and you've said it, right? I'm big on this. Like, and again, I think I'm starting to realize that I'm an extremist, right? But everything matters. Like, I look at it like everything matters, because I think everything affects everything. And it's why, I mean, you'll often hear me saying, if I was to, like, I don't eat bread because what's the point of me working out this hard? Like, it wouldn't correlate. It's like, if I'm going to eat bread, it must be artisanal, it must be proper, because I kill it in the gym, I kill it on the road. And the alarm thing is important, dude. It's important because it's, once you snooze that button, you've lied to yourself, and anything's possible. I just think once somebody's lied to me, I think they're capable of anything. And for me, and also I'm an extremist, but if you have lied to me, I think you're capable of anything. And once you lie to yourself, I don't know if there's a way back for you in life. Like, I just don't know, because what kind of life are you going to lead? Because ultimately, as we grow up, and something I've noticed, which makes me very uncomfortable still, because I'm a very selfish person, very, very, is in the end, you're a product of people before you. And part of kind of how I look at life now is that, when I was a delinquent for, from sort of 19 onwards, 18 even, it is so disrespectful to the people that came before me, like to my mom, to my dad, to my sister. It's like, people did stuff to put me in this position. And I don't care if you come from a rich home or not, which I don't. I come from a middle class home. But the stuff my parents did as well is like, part of taking care of myself is I always keep in mind. And in my 20s I didn't, but now it's like, my mom has to go to church, and one of the promises I made to myself was, after the behavior I had in my 20s, and I don't know if this applies for your mom, but I never want my mom to have to explain my behavior in church again. That's one of the things I always say to myself. Until I die, I never want to have my mom explain my behavior to somebody in church again and be ashamed. Like, I don't want that. It's one of my main things, which is why I roll how I roll now. Nobody's perfect either. My mom, I know, doesn't expect me to be perfect, but is I just never want that again. And these little things, like, my mom put so much into raising me. Like, why am I not getting up early? Why am I not the healthiest version of myself? And these little things are important to me. And the alarm thing is just a small part of, if I can do that, of course I'll be on time. If I can do that, of course I'm going to stick to my promises. But it seems like a little thing. But I think, we all get tempted to make massive changes. It's like, if you can't take care of that as well, like a big thing for me was, if I can't even get up on time, how on earth do I expect to work out for a 6-month plan?
So I think these small things are definitely going to be the sort of make or break. And it's actually funny that you mentioned bread, because I don't think I've had, I had like a wrap earlier, which doesn't really count as bread, but I don't think I've had bread in like a good while, and it's not even a big thing. Honestly, like, I haven't been like, I miss having bread. Like, I've just tried to stay away from eating bread.
Yeah.
because subconsciously I know like bread makes you fat, bro. And I mean that's a small thing that like I'm pretty happy to have done in the past few weeks, and I think like that's already some form of discipline that I've started. Yeah, I think a lot of it is based on past experiences and your sort of situation growing up, like you say. When I was very young, I did something stupid. I'm not going to say what it was. It was just I did something dumb, and it like deeply hurt my parents, both my parents, and what's weird is like for the first sort of couple of years after I'd done that thing and they found out or whatever it was, like you're young, you don't think it has that much of an impact, but honestly about 15, I don't know how long ago it was, 15 years down the line now basically, honestly that thing that I had done still impacts some of the decisions I make today. And yeah, I think a lot of your surroundings when you grow up impacts sort of your decision making and your I think more importantly your discipline when you're older, because we weren't really, discipline wasn't really pounded into us. And today, like I say, like I struggle with discipline. Like yes, my mom wanted us to do well in school and all of the things that moms want, but there wasn't really, we had a structure at home, but it wasn't, you have to be disciplined and no sugar past 8, and like it wasn't that kind of discipline, but do your homework and like some days my parents would be lenient about the homework, or I think it was more of a, we're going to let you be a grown up and do it for yourself. And I mean, I'm not saying that's the reason I struggle with discipline today, not my parents. I think a lot of what happens in your past influences that, and I think definitely this is gonna be a struggle in terms of discipline. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Shout out Friedrich Nietzsche. Yeah, James, it's such an interesting one. It's also something I thought about in terms of my parents. Is whenever you see other people's parents, everyone else's parents is perfect.
Yeah.
They're all perfect because they're not your parents, right? Like they're always doing it better until you grow up and you realize, no. Like, oh my God, there was so much happening in that home. Is that, a big thing for me now is there is no such thing as the perfect parent in my eyes as I'm growing up. And our parents did their best. Like, that's just how I look at it. Like, not all parents, because not everybody's fortunate enough. I mean, from what I've experienced with you, you say your mom and your old man kind of were awesome, right? It's not everybody has that. I'm realizing more and more. And both of my parents, although divorced, but great people, like great. And I've never lacked for anything, like ever. And they did their best. Everybody has their shortcomings, nobody's perfect. And it's so tough to be able to look at myself in the mirror now and say, not only did I let myself down, but I let them down for so long, for 5-6 years, and sort of their sweat equity, which they put in, and it's a rough situation, right?
You missed something there.
Swequity.
Why did you go sweat equity? You could have gone sweat equity. Sweat equity.
Should be one word. I do agree with you. Let's just change what Oxford say.
Who is that guy? William Shakespeare.
It's a while ago. I think it's before Oxford even. He was before universities at all.
What makes him so damn great?
Yeah, not great. His plays don't even make sense. I haven't actually still figured out some of the language he was using.
Wherefore art thou?
Romeo. You were head of the play club thing at St. Sidion's, weren't you?
Yeah.
What was it called?
The drama club.
Play club.
So I wasn't actually the play club. I wasn't actually the head up front. I was the head from like towards the end of the year. Because what I did was I was dumb, right? I was like, I'm going to go for prefectship, but for reasons that I won't disclose on camera, I didn't get it.
Yeah. Was that the shenanigans?
No, because of our
Because of the head boy, your teacher.
No, because of how the system works. There you go.
It's a shot at St. Stidians.
Dude.
But it's every school.
Exactly.
Like, you know, if you went to a boys' school, you know, there were people who got in because the teachers liked them.
Yeah.
And if their dad pays more for the library.
There you go.
No, it's, no, but like, this is not a secret. Like, these schools think we can't say, well, or at least James is not saying it, I'm saying it. All of these schools, it's like, if you're the richest kid there, even though most kids are rich there, that's what it's about. Who's building the new library?
Yeah, who's
friends with the coach?
Whose parents have been involved for the longest?
Yeah, whose mom's a busybody?
And often those are the prefects. So I wasn't like a popular dude. I was the weird drama kid, right?
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
It hasn't, even in my career. I was like, I'm going to apply for prefectship and I'm going to get it and it's going to be great. That didn't happen, didn't even make past the first round. So I knew when I applied for prefectship, I couldn't apply for head of drama because those two things conflict. So I had to make a choice and idiotically went with prefectship, not drama. So I was actually made head of the movie makers. And then towards the end of the year, I was made sort of co-head of drama because for the whole year I'd put in effort into the drama committee or whatever. So I wasn't actually fully the head, but yes, kind of.
It's probably a good thing. I mean, you did have a girls' school there. Probably no girl wants the drama guy at that age, but so probably a good thing you didn't get it from the beginning, and so girls wouldn't hate you. So, you know what, James? I wanted to also ask you this. Have you told anybody besides us, obviously the people who watch the show and whatever, like in your family, have you talked it through with the people that are close to you, your brothers, or anybody else?
Yeah. So last night when you and Brad had made that group and were making plans for things, I had actually sent a screenshot to our family group, and I was like, guys, it's happening this week, Tuesday, 5:15. This is what's happening. Yeah, that's probably about it.
What'd your mom say?
She said good luck. Don't give up when it gets hard.
Because she knows.
Yeah.
She's worked. Your mom's a grown up, huh?
She's a real grown up human being.
She knows. She knows. When did you tell her? Was that the first time she found out?
I think I told her on the day we had decided with Brad, because so I'm that person, right? This is probably the worst job for me to have in the world because I fangirl so easily, right? And it was when Flip first started joining the show, it was pretty bad, but now it's like, as he's been on every week, it's been fine, right?
Yeah, because you're besties.
Exactly, he's my best friend. So that first show that Brad was on, the show we spoke about training or whatever, I put a message on the family group when I got home and I was like, yo guys, guess who's being trained by a former footballer to not be so fat anymore?
Yeah.
And they were like, what do you mean, James? And I was like, there's a former footballer that's training me to be aesthetically pleasing again. And so that's how they found out about it, because I'm a shallow person that likes saying that I've met people.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
Vibes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, they've known since day one.
And what did your mom say? I'm really interested in. Did she say anything? Just like, hey, good luck, just don't give up? Is that the only thing she said to you?
So every time I've spoken about it on our family group or sent them or spoken to her, she's thrown in like good luck and stuff like that.
Have you ever phoned her and spoken to her about it?
I don't actually think so.
Because it's a tricky thing, right? Is the reason I'm asking you is, you know what's quite incredible since I went on like my sort of health journey, and it'll happen to you when you see it through. It's very, very interesting who you don't think is watching, who will ask you how you did it. All of the people who seem fine, like family and extended, and people, on the gram or whatever, it'll be very interesting. I think on that journey, number one, you'll see people try and pull you down. That's going to happen. So 90% of the world will try and pull you down. Like, just know that. You must accept that now. But it'll be very interesting, the people you thought had it together who'll come to you. It's been incredible for me over the last few years.
It's bizarre, huh?
Very, very bizarre to see people who knew me when I was a delinquent and people who I thought had it together come to me in a very, very humble way. Because everyone has their vices, James. So whatever led you here, like, you shouldn't feel less than anybody. Everybody has their vices. Like, nobody is what they look like they are. And you know, another really important part is you have to make it about other people, because it's pretty. And I guess maybe not. Maybe you've got enough in you that I don't. It's pretty fast burning fuel to just make it about yourself. And you'll often hear me talking about my mom and my sister. For me, those are the two most important. I mean, I always say I'm the most important, but I know what it does for them. I know what it does for them to know, just knowing, you know, when my mom sees me and she says, yes, you look healthy. So my mom will call me, video call me, your skin looks great. I know she'll go to bed at ease.
Yeah.
And that puts me at ease, you know, and then it allows me to be even more driven.
Yeah.
Like, if my mom's keen on that, and if I can put my mother at ease, oh my God, there's no greater gift on earth. And the only thing our parents want us to be, they don't care about being rich. They don't care about any of that. They just want us to be healthy. Like, and you'll see as you're going it would be interesting to attach those relationships and it'll clear it up, is what's important. Because one thing once you start to become disciplined is things become so clear. Like, it's so clear to me. Like, it's crystal clear to me who matters and who doesn't now. It wasn't 5 years ago. It is so clear to me where I'm going to spend my time. It is so crystal clear. Like, it's not negotiable. I'm not going to get up in the morning and I don't worry about 90% of the world.
See that. So that for me is not hard to do. Like, I've gone through some stuff in life, and that's made me not really care about certain people's opinion. Like, I know whose opinions I care about or matter to me, and I know who's always going to be rooting for me. And I don't have a lot of friends, but the friends I do have, like, ride or die, homie. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, people that haven't really shown an interest in my life, I couldn't care less if they're like, oh, dude, I wish we were friends in high school, or I wish we had become closer in whatever. Dude, like, if you cared back then, why are we doing this now?
Yeah, what are we up to?
Like, what are we doing now? So that's the thing for me. Like, and dude, one thing that drives me insane is when I put on pants that used to fit me like a couple of months ago, and then they're very tight, and then, dude, I just see red. Just red. So yeah, that's
so.
What I'm
Like,
doing
so you've got anxiety, something we've talked about before. Does that make you anxious when that happens? Like, anger and anxiety and and then it all comes together, and it's just like, okay, I'm not doing anything today. The whole world sucks, kind of.
Yeah,
thing.
pretty much.
Yeah,
that'll honestly ruin my entire day.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And that's what I'm doing it for, dude. I don't want to wake up in the morning and then my day is already completely ruined because I picked up the 32 pence and not the 346 pence. You know? But that's what I'm doing it for, and you know, to be healthy again. And I used to be able to run on the treadmill, dude, just for hours. Not for hours, that's ridiculous. Just for a while, like a long time. I had stamina once upon a time, even after high school when I wasn't doing regular sports.
Yeah.
And then
here we are.
It just all happened so fast.
And here we are. Now we've got
now we've got a B cup.
I'm glad you said what you said. Why you're doing it, right? Is so have you written this down?
No. So
why are you doing it? Like, you kind of just alluded to you want to have the pants on, or like what else? What else is going on there?
So obviously the pants thing, the clothes thing in general. I think I do miss having, you know, like when you pick up weight, you kind of feel less. Weirdly, like and in the grand scheme of things, I don't think I've picked up a lot of weight compared to, like, you know, those people on like my 500-pound life or whatever, right? What I've picked up is nothing, but you can actually feel it when you've picked up the amount of weight that I've picked up.
Well, let's talk about it. How much weight have you picked up?
So pre-lockdown, I was 77,
Okay.
And I weighed myself probably 2-3 weeks ago. And I was 96.7, which is like 20 kilograms.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
was
you picked up 20 kgs.
20 kilograms, dude. I was so light, bro.
You picked up 20 kgs in 2 years.
Yeah, I did.
James, that's crazy.
That's bad, huh?
20.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Dude, I was in shape, dude.
Do you realize you were only 7 kilograms heavier than me?
Really?
Yeah, I'm 70 kilograms.
Wait, then or now?
No, I'm 70 kilograms right now. You're looking at 70 kilograms.
Wow.
That is so... Dude, you're 6'3". I'm 5'11".
Yeah.
So you were like lean, mean machine.
Yeah, I had some... And I was gymming regularly, dude. There was a point... I mean, I wasn't like...
What happened? Why'd you stop gymming?
I don't know. I think just... I think life happened, honestly.
What does that mean?
It's an easy excuse.
Were you
to
drawing with the
say-
boys?
No. So I'd started working, which happened for a while, and I was still kind of playing football and stuff, and then, but not regularly enough. And then, I think COVID happened, and inside of that, this past sort of winter/autumn period that's just passed us. I was actually speaking to one of my mates the other day, and we were saying to each other how hard like this season for some reason has been. Like we've just both been miserable in like not with our jobs, but just the fact that we have to get up and then the weather's cold and you want to sleep in all day, and I don't know if it's just like a seasonal depression thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we both said to each other, like, holy hell, like, this was one of the hardest winters, like, we've both ever had. We were both so, like, just moody for
This
months.
past winter?
Yeah, the one that just ended.
And you were working here then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, working with me will make you miserable. Let's also be honest about that.
I don't actually sleep about that, but, you know, that's a
different issue.
podcast
Yeah,
for
that's what the
another-
whiskey's for, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that definitely added to it, because then, you know, when you're in that mind space, I don't know if you've ever been there, but all you want to do is just like eat comfort food and stand under the blankets and not see people and not leave the house, and that's definitely, I think, where it's sort of added.
I've been there, and shame is crushing, you know. Part of the first 2 years of when I stopped drinking, it was all riddled with shame. I remember when I gave up drinking and I started thinking about the things I did in my 20s. I couldn't eat for a week. There was a week where I had to stay in the fetal position, not because I was sick, because what I decided was to write down all the shameful things I could remember from my 20s. And I remember a week I was staying on a property my dad has in the middle of the Vaal. It's like a farm or like a plot. Sorry, not a farm. And I couldn't eat for a week. I couldn't stand up for a week. So I had such intense pain, and it was just shame. Like in the end, it was just like, oh no, I was actually
crazy.
fine. And it was extremely harrowing, James. I don't wanna lie and say I've been where you are, but that happened to me. That was a real thing. And I'll never forget it. It's the most painful thing I've ever, and also, you know, I think the greatest pain anybody can ever feel on this planet is to feel alone. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I'd rather feel any physical pain I've ever had. When the human soul feels alone, and I like soul, however you want to take that, is the greatest pain I've ever felt was being separated from my mother and my sister, and I felt so lonely. And that's when I had lots of football money and I was traveling the world. I've never felt so lonely, and every single day was hell on earth. Every day was hell on earth.
I think that's incredible, actually, because I think that plays a big part, right? So, you know, the whole like feeling alone thing. Yeah, you have people around you and stuff, and honestly, like throughout this last sort of winter, autumn period, like that was it. Like I just didn't want to leave the house on weekends or see people, and I think a lot of it was like feeling alone. And like you say, it's one of the hardest things a human can actually sort of go through, and that's definitely something that is driving me to do this and do it properly.
So like let me ask you, because I mean you said you gained 20 kilograms. It's like, for me, the shame made me separate myself from my family. So it wasn't like they wanted me to come home. My mom was always like, just come home. But because of the shameful things, I was like, what a mess. Like, because I know we know when we've let our families down. We know.
Yeah.
Like you can lie to the world, and that's what actually. So you like, I don't know if you feel ashamed of the 20 kilograms thing, but I would imagine from what you said, you do feel a little bit of shame. And what tends to happen is then you pile more shameful stuff, because if you feel like rubbish, you don't really love yourself. You eat rubbish.
Yeah.
And then it just gets worse, and you don't you spiral, because it's like, if I'm shameful, or if I'm ashamed, I'm shameful. If I'm shameful, who cares, right? If who cares, let me just keep eating. Who cares if I'm getting fatter? And then it just spirals, and every part of your life just like devolves into absolute madness, because who cares about the outcome? This was just my mindset at the time when I was just drinking, and I was the guy pitching up at restaurants with my mates, like eating full meals and getting hammered and not having no money on me, by the way. That was me, because I could behave like that, because who cares? The shame was so deep, and like, who cares? Nobody loves me anyway, and worst of all, I don't love myself. I don't care what people think about me. And I don't know if the shame thing's a big thing for you, but I guess, you know, that's probably going to be the most difficult thing. And I think in the early months is that you're probably going to have to try and overcome that, because that's real. That's like, if people haven't been through shame, like proper shameful on your own. I also don't mean just saying it like on a stage or to your friends on a WhatsApp group. Oh, really shameful. I mean, when you're on your own, you get that tight knot in your stomach of, oh no, what would my mom think? What would my dad think? Like, it's a very lonely place. It's like, you ever dropped something heavy on your finger or your toes?
I dropped a can of dog food on my big toe once.
Yeah.
And it shaved off the skin.
Yeah.
Like the skin was hanging off the...
And was there anyone there? Was there anyone there?
My parents were in the house, but I decided to keep it to myself because I was in the garage.
But you know when you feel that pain? It's the loneliest time in the world, isn't it? Like, I once dropped a friend of mine. I once had a shower door fall on my foot, and it happened to a friend of mine. Yeah. But in that moment, I felt like the most alone man in the world.
And you're like...
Yeah. No, I'm alone. And I was literally alone. But that pain, like, I couldn't go any... But that's what the shame feels like. Like, it's this knot in my stomach. And so you reckon you can get it going for yourself and for your fam?
I think so. No, I don't think so. I know.
Let me ask you a different thing, because here's how I always look at life. You know how I know where I am in terms of my relationship with myself? It's because I believe the most important relationship you're in the world, and people create distractions, right? It's why, be honest, you've never really seen me with stuff. I don't watch. Like, have you ever seen me with like flashy stuff?
I don't think so. No.
You know why I don't have? And I'm not a guru. I just want to explain to you what my journey is. You know why I don't have any stuff? Because most people add stuff and people, and often it's low quality stuff, to the distraction to the most important relationship in the world, and the hardest relationship in the world is your relationship with yourself. I believe the most important relationship I'm in is with myself, and there are certain things now that I will not allow myself to do because I'm not being funny. And I know I always say it to you in a joking sense, but the number one way I know what my headspace is what I'm willing to put in my mouth. Every time I walk around, if I'm willing to eat rubbish food, if I'm willing to, that's when I know what's going on, because I know that's not okay. You and I both know. Like, I'm having 2 chocolate fudge cakes. Why am I doing that? Because what I'm doing is, and some of us use food to cover up. We're anxious. Why? Because I'm fighting with my mom, or I'm not doing my best at work, or there's an anxiety touch point.
Yeah.
Or that relationship with myself is, why am I not checking in on myself? Am I letting other things go? You know, it could be relationships. Is it work stuff that I'm putting off? And that's how I check. For me, it's again, you see how I do it. There's no excuse. I can't say, James put food in my mouth. Again, that relationship of plate to mouth, that's just me. If I choose to go fudge and then the next day eat fish and chips, and then, oh no, What am I saying about myself? And I truly believe that. And it's why you see me roll like I roll, because I made a promise to myself, James. I promise you, this is the most powerful thing that ever happened to me. And I maybe it's not for everyone. And again, I'm an extreme. The day you decide what you put in your mouth shows you what you think of yourself. I promise you it'll change your life. I promise you. And I've said it to 2 people, and once they heard me say it, they both come back to me years later and they said, I hated you when you said it. Because it is a very, very painful thing. It is a very, very, very painful thing to hear. But I promise you, if you use that, because there's no excuse there. There's no excuse. You can't say my mom, you can't say my best friend, you can't say my girlfriend did it. You chose to eat that fudge. You chose to eat McDonald's. You chose. You are telling yourself what you think of yourself by what you put in your body. Do you think you could ever... Part of this journey is going to have to be about sacrifice. And what I'd urge you to do is write down 3 things you're willing to sacrifice. Because if you want things you've never had before, you have to do things you've never done before. And it would be interesting on your own. And I wouldn't tell anybody if I was you.
Do you mean like actual things, or like food, or what do you mean?
What's the most important thing in your leisure right now?
In my leisure?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's the most important, but it's the one that helps me relieve stress most.
Yeah.
Is probably just Apex.
Oh, Apex Legends. That's your Xbox game.
Yeah.
Why don't you give your Xbox to your brother for a year? Like, no, but I mean, it sounds nuts, right? It sounds crazy. But you know, in that time, as much as you're saying it's your relaxing time, it's like, should really be sleeping.
Yeah, no, so that's the thing. I think as the weeks have gone on, right, and as we've gotten closer to this thing, I can honestly say that I have realized like yesterday, I had a donut and I felt terrible about it. I was like, James, why did you do this? You're the worst person ever.
Yeah.
And then when I go to bed past like a certain time, I'm also like, James, you just need to go to bed earlier, dude. So I have seen that there are kind of small changes that I've been...
Yeah, we'll keep going for another 10 minutes here, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are sort of small changes where I have wanted to... and I have made an attempt and an honest sort of effort to make changes to my health and my diet. Like, I honestly have been eating so healthy over the past... I think since we started the conversation with Brad. Honestly, like dinner, having salads, like clean chicken, like honestly healthy food.
Yeah.
I think the donut I had yesterday was the first time I've had unhealthy food in a while.
Yeah.
And I felt terrible about it.
And you've come to such an awesome point, right? Is food is a real conversation for me. But you got to think about that sacrifice thing, by the way, because again, that's gonna let you know where you are. What are you willing to give up? Because life is sacrifice, James. It's so hard to say this to people because also, you know what I'm acknowledging more and more? And my sister always talks to me about this, and she's so wise beyond her years. She's 4 years younger than me, but she always says to me, I'm becoming more and more like my father, right? It's like, he's like uber disciplined, uber right or wrong, you know, and I've got to keep an eye on it. It's like, again, what you're willing to sacrifice lets me know where you are in your relationship with yourself. And I always hear people saying, I could never. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, you're telling me how much you love yourself. You should do anything to be the best version of yourself, in my opinion. But okay, fine. You should think of 3 things, and it would be better if it's the things that mean the most to you in your leisure time. Beer, it might be Apex, it might be, I don't know, whatever, double fudge cake or whatever. I'm just saying. But there are things that mean the most to you. You should write those three things down, and you know, and then you should write down 3 things you want to improve. My relationship with my mom, alone time with my girlfriend, and actually my relationship with my brother is not going well. So I'm giving you real things that I wrote down. So I'll tell you what I wrote down. Right, my first thing that I wrote down was my relationship with myself, my relationship with my mom, and my relationship with my sister. Those are the 3 things that drive me. So I wrote those down. All of the other sacrifice stuff, it just became so clear. The most important thing in the world is my relationship with myself. What do I want? I want to be awesome. I want to give all of my mates the best version of myself. And if I'm not healthy, I'm lying. I'm lying to myself. So you're going to have to sacrifice some stuff. And don't tell people either, because don't do it for them. Do it for you. For me, I say do it for you. Everyone else in the world can go jump in a lake. Do it for you. They can all go F themselves. Do it for you. And I promise you, James, in 2 years' time, you may be here, you may be editing in Hollywood or wherever. If you become the healthiest version of yourself, I always say to people, I'm like Panado. You will hate me when you take me. But I promise you, if you do 1 out of the 100 things that I say, in 2 years' time, it's going to feel so much better to be your best version of yourself. Because think about it this way. You've never actually given yourself a chance in life. If you're not disciplined, you're not giving yourself a chance. How do you know how good you actually are? Because if you're not disciplined, I'm probably thinking you haven't watched all the training videos for editing. You haven't actually checked on every single program. What's the best way to do these things? You haven't actually engaged in every single thing that you could do to be the best editor you can.
Yeah.
Because discipline is across the board, and I'm afraid to say it, if you're saying you've gained 20 kilograms, every part of your life has suffered.
It's true.
Every part of your life has suffered.
Especially probably my couch.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's an interesting thing. So you reckon, vibes, you're going to rock it. And how do you feel about yourself right now? Now that you said 20 kilograms, I find that astonishing.
It's insane.
How do you feel about yourself right now and that you've gotten here?
So I'll start by telling you how I feel or how I felt about myself when I weighed myself a couple of weeks ago and found out that it was 20 kilograms. I wasn't at home. I was actually out, and there were a whole bunch of people around actually at someone's house. So, and the only reason why I hadn't weighed myself was because I don't have a scale in my house. I had one at my parents' house, don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
So I haven't weighed myself in like 2 years, right? And when I weighed myself, it was almost like I felt so terrible.
Were there people there watching you?
No, not when I weighed myself.
Oh,
No. So,
geez,
I was at someone's house, but I was with someone when I weighed myself, and then we both I told that person that I was 20 kilograms light. You know one thing that irritates me, right, about this whole thing and the 20 kilograms. Okay, so I can look at myself now over there.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm wearing the shirt and stope and stuff. Okay, but then I begin to like overanalyze it. So I see like, oh, this sleeve's, that's the wrong sleeve. This sleeve is riding up it. Yeah. Let's pull it down. And then when I pull it down, I'm like, okay, that looks all right. And then I move slightly, and then it does it again. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need bigger clothes. And then it's just spirals.
Yeah.
I didn't answer your question at all.
No, you did a great job of answering.
Did
so
I?
Not happy? Yeah. No, absolutely.
That's definitely a big thing. Like that right there on that screen of me looking at myself.
You're not happy about that?
Especially like here, this part here. Yeah, I know.
So are you willing to do what it takes to get there? Because ultimately, who cares what you look like? Is it not about being healthy?
So I've never been in it for the aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I've never been that person that's super in love with himself. Or like the only thing in my life that I'm about myself that I'm pedantic about is my hair. Yeah. Contrary to popular.
No, it's on fleek. Your hair is on fleek. Yeah, you got superb hair.
Yeah.
Even when you don't cut it for 6 months. Yeah.
And it still looks good, right? Sometimes.
The bar's so high.
Yeah, exactly.
That when you let it go, I'm like, is he a bear or is he a human? But great hair anyway, great body, great volume.
So, yeah, that's... I don't know where I was going. The hair thing.
Yeah, what you love about yourself. Relationship, yeah.
So, yeah,
aesthetic.
I wasn't doing it for... I'm doing none of this for the aesthetic. Honestly, I want to genuinely feel comfortable again in my body. And if I'm like swimming, I don't want to be like, oh, I don't want to take off my shirt. Not because I don't have a six-pack, but just because what's under the shirt is... It's going to chase the 3-year-olds away, you know?
James, I want to say something to you, and I need you to take this in the correct, with the correct perspective. I think you're a great guy, and it pains me to say this to people. allowing yourself over the last time is, and I know you suffer from anxiety, so please take this from the place it's coming, is like, I think it's one of the most, as kids of parents, it's one of the most selfish things we can do when we have the resources to let ourselves go and have our mothers and fathers live and see us the way you've become. And I say that because I think you do want to make yourself proud, number one, but you do want to make your mom proud. And I just think when those hard times come, you got to think about, what is it like? What about my mom? Because you know what she's done for you. And like, you've gotten here, and anxiety, the whole thing, like, I'm not a psychologist. I'm just saying, like, you got plenty of support. I think you've got to keep her front and center. It's like, on a selfish point of view from my side. So I want you to know this while you work with me, why I drove this situation, is that it's a very selfish reason for me. I look at it this way. Anybody who comes to work with me, young people, and I'm 35 now, so you guys are young compared to me. Your parents have sent you to me, whether directly or indirectly. I have a mother I have a family ethos. Your parents have sent you to me, and I will feel awful if I don't develop you as a person as well. And I also would be disrespecting your mother if I didn't put you in a position where you have to be a better man. And it might be by my own standards, but hey, that's where the cookie crumbles. If you don't like it, go and work somewhere else. You have to be a better person because I've been in your life. And part of that is, on a very selfish point of view, I want to be very, very honest with you. I will feel awful if I send you back to your mother being what you are right now. So not only have I let my own mother down, because it is my responsibility to develop you as a person, but your mother sent you to me, and I don't know your mother. I've never met your mother, but from
if she was waiting for you.
Yeah, I could have gone down as Tsitsikamma, just pop over to St. Francis. But I will not have you work here and be, however long I'm in your life. People come, people go. But I'm not going to have you be in my life, disrespect my own mother by not treating someone else's son, because I know what my mom tells me all the time, what she thinks about me as a son, is that it is vital to me that when you leave your employment with me, is you're a better man as well. And being a better man is being the best son you can be. And the best son you can be is being the healthiest James you can be. And like, it's important that you know this. While you work here, it is not going to stop. And I'm not going to stop pushing for the health thing, because I know what's on the other side, not just for you, because you have a mother, and that's important to me, and she sent you here. And I'm not religious, I don't believe in the stars, but your mother sent you here. It is my responsibility to ensure that when her son leaves here, you cannot leave here a boy, because the behavior now is the behavior of a boy, of a child. You will leave here a man, whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? And that's something I want you to think about, is that I'm doing it for a selfish reason, because I want my mother to go, oh, okay, I did okay. She mustn't say that to me, but if my mom hears your story, which she will, because she watches the show every single day,
and she's going to subscribe to my YouTube channel where I'm going to be vlogging.
Yeah, with the shirtless.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys.
Oh, you're going to be that oak, with the hair, with the shirt out. You're actually going shopping for shirts, shirtless.
In Santon City, just no shirt.
That's it.
Yeah.
But that's a very important thing that you need to realize, that this is not just about you. There are people behind you who you represent. And in those moments when it's going to be awful, because it's going to be, like, I don't want to lie to you. The Japanese have a great saying, right? Is, the pain is inevitable. The suffering is a choice. The pain is going to happen. Be ready for that. And the suffering is a choice. That's a mental thing. And we'll spend the next few months getting your head in the right space. And it's not going to be easy, because it's not your natural setting.
No.
And yeah, you need to understand is that, how awful I'll feel sending you back to your mom the same as you came here. And it won't happen, because you will either leave because I'm too much, or when you leave and you go home, your mother, you will give your mother a new James by the time you leave here. And that is important to me. Because I cannot let my mother down by being a self-centered person where a mother has sent her son here and I allow them to be mediocre. I will not. And it's important to you to think is, what kind of son do I want to be? You know, I hate to be this kind of brutal about it. Is part of this is it's not about you, you know. I don't know if you've thought about that, but it's something I'd like you to think about, and it's been on my heart and my mind for a while now.
So obviously, like, I've thought about it a lot for my own benefit, but I haven't really thought about it for many other people's benefits besides like feeling better. And honestly, I think, because even my mom says, oh, you picked up weight or whatever, and I think being able to go to her or go to her house at the coast or whatever and not be scared to walk in the door and be like, hey, I'm home, and not get like a comment of, sure,
Yeah.
James.
Yeah.
Because that happened last time.
I'm sure.
I got there from Joburg and she went, what'd she say? Lekker dik.
Yeah.
Like, wow, wee, wow.
Lekker
Thanks.
dik, no. But James,
yeah.
don't be selfish. Because let me tell you something. And I hope your mom doesn't hear this. Maybe she will. Don't be selfish. Because right now your behavior, and I know you've got anxiety, don't be selfish. Like, you can't let your mom go to bed worrying about your health. That is so selfish. And I'm not just saying you, I'm saying I was that. And it takes a bit of time to look back on it. And it's something to think about. Don't be selfish. It's not about you. There's too, like, your mom did too much for you. You have every opportunity. You're an awesome guy. You're giving her a 50% James right now. You're going home, you're anxious. Can I tell you a quick story as we wrap up, right? Because I know the guys want to wrap up. So my mom taught me an incredible life lesson, and maybe take this with you on this journey. So my mom always at restaurants, she always, I remember we once had rubbish service, and she sat the guy down and she wanted to explain something, and my mom was living around the world at this stage, and we never saw each other. And my mom said, take a seat, to the waiter. So my mom's hectic. Oh, no, my mom doesn't play.
What if he was really busy?
No, take a seat. My mom, she takes over a room immediately. There's no getting away from it. Sits the guy, take a seat, Jim. She explained to him how bad his service was. And then she explained to him why she sat him down. Also gave him a 500 Rand tip for like a nothing bill, even though his service was awful. She said to him, listen, every time I have to look for you in the restaurant, it means I'm not with my son. This will never leave me. It means I'm not making eye contact with my son. Every time I have to look for you, it means that I'm not spending time with my son. So you need to understand that everything matters. You know, it sounds like a little thing. And I'd never thought about it like that. But she said, every time I have to look for you as the waiter, the 30 seconds, 10 seconds, it means I'm not with my son. So for your mom, what you don't realize is every moment you look like you look and feel how you feel, she can hear it on the phone. She can hear it. She can see it. How do you think she feels? Because what we never put on ourselves is this. What do our parents think when we don't behave well about themselves? And maybe you've never thought about that before.
No.
But what do our parents think when we behave bad? What do they think about themselves? And I think my mother must have been punishing herself, going, I failed him. And now I have to keep reminding my mom, I failed you. And so give that some thought. It's not about you. As much as your mom's going lekker dik and we keep it light, and maybe you can ask her, maybe you're not ready. There's a part of her that's going, I failed. Which is so, isn't that the most selfish thing in the world? Don't you think?
I think it's super heartbreaking that she would feel that way.
But she is. I guarantee you, she'll never say it because our mothers will protect us. And you have to be a man enough to go, what does my mom think about herself? Because she raised you. She poured everything into you. I promise you, if you asked her, if you really, really ground her, there was a moment where she's thinking, I failed. And she'll take it on herself because that's what mothers do. You know this. Hey, when you had your incident, whatever it may be, what did your mom do? Protected you, right?
Yes, in the grand scheme of things, yeah.
Of course. She didn't kick you out.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
think about that as you're going on your journey. Is every time my mom is saying that, even though, think about it, she's thinking she failed. And that, come on, bro. That's not who you want to be. You don't want to put your mom through that, do you?
No, it's not one of my favorite pastimes ever. It's actually one of my least favorite.
And you're not. Maybe I'm wrong. Give it some thought, but I know it was true for me. And if your mom put this much effort into you, it's on her mind every night. Trust me, because I talked to my mom about this when I was out and about, and it broke my heart to realize that. So give it some thought. But yeah.
Yeah.
Real. Like we're in real life, right, James? We're in real life. We're not in play school now. It's like your mom's life is real now.
Yeah.
Your life is real. At some stage, there has to be a brutal kind of end.
Tomorrow, 4 o'clock in the morning will be real.
James, I'm very proud of you, and I think we'll do more of these.
Yeah.
As it goes. Like we'll try and do one a week. But yeah, dude. I mean, it's going now, and yeah, I'm behind the journey, bro. I don't know if you've got anything to say.
Not so much actually. I think it's gonna be tough. And I'm gonna try to take it in my stride, honestly. I know there's gonna be weeks or days where I just don't want to. And gotta put on my big girl panties and like you say, I did it to myself.
Yeah.
So
No, my father used to say everything's your fault, and I really believe that in life. Everything's your fault.
exactly. I can't exactly say, "Hey Ryan, this is your fault, dude."
No, it's not.
You're the reason I'm massive. He giggles.
But James, take this away as the beginning message. Just make yourself proud. Just think about that. Like whatever that means, just go and make yourself proud, dude. That includes, because remember, it's not just about one dimension. There's money in life. Trust me, you get healthy, you're going to make more money. Trust me, you can work longer and produce quality work. Just make yourself proud. That's all I'm saying. And I want to say this as the takeaway message is, I'm not excited about what you're going to look like, whatever, vibing. For me, I would write this down if I was you. Be excited about the man you have to become to do this kind of thing for the rest of your life. You're going to have to become a different beast. Right? To work out 5 times a week, trust me, James. Like I'm out there, I'm killing it. I had to become a totally different person. And it changed everything. So you should be excited about the man you can become. Not just now, in 5 years' time. Better boyfriend, better son, better brother, better to James. The most important thing, better to James. And it'll be awesome. But for the next 12 months, be ready for bloody murder. So, shut up, bro. That was good.
It's, yeah.
That was good.
Tomorrow, huh? That was good. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Yeah, very happy.
I'll see you tomorrow if I'm still alive, I guess.
Yeah.
That was so hard, man.